This is a little boy who I walk in the house and he is he's on his Xbox, and he actively turns off the Xbox because I'm there. He doesn't need to be told it. That, as an educator, is like, oh my gosh, I'm competing with Xbox and I'm winning. Whew, it's a good feeling.
And welcome back to yet another episode of the Lifelong Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Molly from Three Pines Leadership, and as usual, my friends, thank you for joining me from the bottom of my heart. I know you have so many other options of places you could be spending your time right now, but right now you've chosen to spend it with me and two of my favorite people in the entire world, who I will introduce you to in just a moment. But as usual, I have to remind you, connect with me on all of my social platforms. I'm Coach Molly with an E on Twitter, or Three Pines Leadership pretty much everywhere else. It'll be a fun time. I promise. And today, this episode, well, actually, there's a couple episodes coming up in the next little bit because, well, the world is changing. And I know we've been saying that since the beginning of the year, it seems, but now it's back to school season. And our kids, honestly, here in Ontario, Canada, our kids started March break at the middle of March, and now they're just going back to school. And imagine the possibilities. Like, we don't know what's going to happen in our classrooms. Lots of people are taking the online option. It's new, it's exciting, but it's always going to be a challenge for all of us. So before we jump into today's episode, I want to set you guys in the right mindset. I want you guys to understand that the challenges that get thrown your way, you have two choices. You can either curl up in a ball and wonder, oh no, why me? This mountain is so big. This weight is so heavy. Oh no, what am I going to do? Or you pick option B. And option B is to make the best of the situation, to look for ways that you can grow, that you can learn. And you as parents, my friends, you are going to learn so much this year. And so are your kids. And your kids are going to learn from you setting the right example. They're going to learn from the incredible adults around them. And I want to introduce you to two of those incredible adults that can have a hand in shaping the resilience and the bright minds of your kids. These two are offering an incredible solution, my friends. So I'm not going to introduce them because they are way better at that. So I'm going to hand it over to our guests. So who are you guys and what do you do?
Hey, Molly, thanks so much. Oh my gosh. So my name's Dustin Block. I met Molly, oh my gosh, I think it was about 10 years ago. We were doing summer camp together out in Richmond Hill. Oh my gosh. I remember meeting you, Molly, at a supervisor training, I think. And it was, my initial thought of Molly was, this is a cool girl. That was my initial thought. That was first off the bat, see you, hear you speak, this girl is cool. So my name's Dustin.
The first time I met Dustin was at obviously the same supervisor training, and I thought you were the coolest guy in the room because you were like, hey, I'm Dustin, and I want to be a kindergarten teacher. Like, yeah, you do.
And now I'm living that dream. So like Molly said, I'm Dustin. I am a teacher. I'm an Ontario certified teacher. Actually, I moved away from the kindergarten stuff, even though I have taught kindergarten. But my specialties are middle school and high school, math and drama. So I've gone back to my roots, my math, my drama. I also do swimming on the side. So that's just a big collection of things. And I'm the lucky and hardworking co-founder of L D Tutoring. We're a tutoring company that pushes kids to their highest potential, and we help kids catch up, keep up, and push ahead.
Yes, that's amazing. We also have another guest. Who are you?
Hey, I'm Laura DiNicola. I am the other half of L D Tutoring. So I'm also an Ontario certified teacher, also an outdoor educator. So I take kids who come for field trips on things like hikes, and we learn about the outdoors, and it's honestly the most fun that we have. So with L&D tutoring, I love bringing that into it and bringing in the environmental education aspect and just bringing kids outside even during tutoring sessions. It's amazing how much just being in nature can absolutely turn around someone's day. And we really do, like Dustin said, we're pushing these kids to their fullest potential and showing them new opportunities that they might not have had otherwise. So really, really excited to be on this journey, especially with Dustin.
Oh, that's incredible. So we've talked about what you guys have experienced and how you guys are kind of set up as experts to help with these kids in this section, but how are you guys actually changing the world? What are you actually doing with these kids to change what they're doing?
That's a good question. And it's easy for us to say, oh, we're helping with tutoring, we're keeping kids ahead, because every tutoring company and every teacher in Ontario wants to do that. Every teacher wants to help kids get ahead. We're not unique in that way. The way that we're really changing the world is we're taking the learning opportunities for the kids, and we're reinvesting most of the money that comes into our company back into learning opportunities for our teachers and for our parents. We're trying to get professional development opportunities for our teachers to help them get even better at what they do and to explore new, different ways of teaching these kids. And we're also offering those opportunities to parents. So that means like learning opportunities of different ways to help your kids learn. Maybe it's mental health awareness for students. Maybe it's mental health awareness for families. We're also looking at just things that adults need. One of the biggest challenges I find is that finances are a bit of a mystery. So we want to bring that to our parents and our teachers, because we want everybody to have that ability and that opportunity to learn and continue growing. So, I mean, you're called the Lifelong Podcast. We're trying to really push that lifelong learning and help not only the kids, but the parents and teachers continue that learning journey too.
I love it. I love it. So one of the kind of school projects out there that inspires me so much is what LeBron James has been starting. And what it is it's totally community-centered education. And he's funding like food services for the kids and families, and like job searches for the parents, and like after school programs and before care and tutoring services, and all their books are covered, and everything they need in order to succeed is there for the students. And the way that they're doing it is by taking that step back and looking at the whole family structure. And I love that you guys are doing that too. And it's true, financial literacy is something that so many people don't really have a great grasp of. So many of us are afraid of money. We're like, oh no, we don't want to play with it. We don't want to learn about it because we're going to lose it, or we've been taught not to talk about it. And so by teaching your parents how to have those dialogues, you're increasing that literacy overall throughout all of the generations of the family. And on top of that, not only, okay, we've gone through lockdown. We know we've spent a lot of time with our kids. And maybe we're kind of wanting to pull our hair out. We've seen every video game our kids have ever played. But now, what a great opportunity to have sit-down conversations with our kids and say, hey guys, tonight we're going to talk about this lecture of financial literacy, or today we're going to balance a checkbook. How fantastic, just bringing that into the normalized discussion around the table. That's fantastic. So let's talk about going outside, because I am an outdoor educator. My heart and passion is outside. And I was recently talking to a teacher friend of mine who's chosen to go into the school and teach her grade 2s in person. And her principal has asked her to spend as much time outside as she can. And so she's kind of racking her brain about how do you teach outside, like how do you bridge that gap? And for me, it's really obvious. I'm sure for Laura, it's really obvious. But Laura, share some ideas on how parents who may be doing the online option with their kids at home, or teachers who are in the classroom, how can they incorporate more outdoor into their learning?
It's a great question. So the simplest answer is honestly just take your iPads or your Chromebooks or whatever else it is and go outside. They have batteries. And just being outside is honestly such a game changer for everyone's mental health. And then for teachers who are planning lessons, any lesson can incorporate something about being outdoors. So art is a great one to bring outdoors. You can do bark rubbings, which are fantastic for ages like grade 2. You can go and explore your habitat for grade 4. Like there's so many things that you can absolutely do. And I'm working on creating lessons and things like that that will be accessible for teachers and parents as well. Because I've had so many questions from parents saying, oh, I really do want to take my kids outdoors. So I'm trying to compile some resources so that we can share those as well, so that everyone can go outside and learn outside too.
I love it. I love it. All right. So I have a kid no, I don't, but a theoretical child. I have 2 theoretical children we'll talk about. So child number 1 has opted to go back to the classroom. And I, as a parent, am feeling like maybe there's not the same kind of attention because there's masks. Maybe my kid's not hearing the same kind of the lessons they used to be able to hear a little bit easier. And I just feel like my kid's getting behind. How can you guys help me in this situation?
Yeah, I think that, well, the situation that you bring up, yeah, maybe they're not hearing, but I think that what they're really missing out on is the ability to talk out problems, because there's no more of the social group learning anymore, or if there is, it's at as much a distance as possible. So they might be missing out on that opportunity to talk through their ideas. And the teachers, as much as they can get to kids, they are, but it's hard as a teacher to get to 30 kids one-on-one in a 40-minute period, or in even, a double period, 80 minutes, 100 minutes. If you're trying to get to 30 different children and talk out ideas with them, that's super tough. So what we offer is that boost, that kind of ability to talk one-on-one, or in a small group too. We offer like the homeschooling pods, but we can do small group lessons as well. And ability to just kind of talk things through, and offer that critical thinking lens, and offer that questioning. So a lot of kids will say, a fact, and then a question that we can bring up is like, well, why do you think that? Who told you that? What do they know about the subject? Why do you think that it's true? And all of these things kind of build that learning. And parents can do this too. But like you said, after about 6 months straight with our kids in the same small apartment or home as us, that might be tough to continue answering those why questions. Little kids especially have a lot of those, and older kids might not be interested in the same field as their parents. So you might get an older kid who's maybe asking questions that are a little beyond parents' grasps. I know a lot of parents who have said, yeah, I was able to help my kid through like elementary school math, but high school math, no thank you. And that's where we can kind of jump in and tag in for you.
Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. Now, what about my other theoretical child who is decided we're going to do the online thing. We're going to try and get as much outdoor time as we can. I'm that kind of parent who wants to try everything new, try all these different things. So maybe I'm not really on the ball with all the online stuff. How can you guys help me in that situation?
So for that situation, and we do find a lot of parents are asking us about that, is when we're going into a home, we want to enhance that learning. So they are still learning the curriculum through a teacher through this online school, but they're not getting that interaction that Dustin was talking about, that one-on-one learning, or even social interaction really at all, except through things like Zoom or Google Classroom. So when we're going in, especially when it's small group learning, and it doesn't have to be even a pod, even tutoring in small groups, those children are really able to get that little bit more interaction. And we're still doing our best to make sure that we're keeping 6 feet apart if we're having children from different families. But having smaller groups really allows for those deeper conversations like Dustin was talking about. And it allows us as teachers and tutors to go in and really learn about those few students who we have, really get in deep to their interests and really shape lessons around what they want to learn. So we can take that online learning and we can enhance it with what the kids actually want to learn, which at the end of the day is going to make them want to learn and really help along with that process.
Oh, I love that you're not just changing it and saying, oh, we're just going to follow what the kids want to do, and kind of like summer camp in self-discovery kind of thing. You're sticking to the actual learning that needs to happen and then adding to that. I absolutely love that. I remember in school, I would ask my parents, what was school like? And they went to very strict schools, and it was, you have to wear uniforms and sit in rows and you can't talk out of turn. And I ended up going to a alternative school, so it was the complete opposite of that. And it was an incredible experience for myself to see, wait, the way that it used to be, it doesn't have to be. We can drive our own learning while still meeting the government's requirements. And tapping into the passions of young people is really going to set them up for success in life. Oh, I love it. So tell me more about what actual services you provide. What age groups do you work with? What's your area, online, in person? Tell me everything.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Before I get to that, I want to come back to something that you were just talking about how, just because something was done in the past doesn't mean that that's the way it has to be done going forward. And that's what we're trying to break through with. And I think that the pandemic has really shown us that. For adults, it's shown us like, oh, you know how you couldn't work from home before? It's possible. You know how we had to do something by this exact date, or we couldn't go online with this format? We can. Oh, you definitely can't stay home with your kids. Surprise, there's a possibility for it. And for kids, it's that online learning, that outdoor learning, being out in the community, obviously socially distanced, but still able to make those connections. And I think that we're trying to bring that to the tutoring world as well. One thing that we've noticed in our little market research and stuff is that all tutoring companies are talking about their services on their website or on their social media, but they don't list any prices. I don't know. I personally don't like that. I'm a very honest, very open, very transparent individual. At times it's gotten me, maybe I've towed the line with that a little bit, but it's done me good overall. And so Laura and I wanted to keep that rolling with L&D Tutoring. And so what we wanted to do was make that as transparent as possible. So we are talking about our prices. Our prices are listed on our website. Our prices are listed on our Facebook page. L&D Tutoring. It's all there. It's wide open. Some of the things we offer the 1 hour one-off packages, right? So an hour as you go, something that maybe you need to study for a test coming up. We offer or maybe you just want like a kind of an introduction or like a tryout. That's cool. Another thing that we offer is the 5-hour package. Maybe you need just a little help in like one unit, getting the hang of a concept. We offer a 10-hour package. And all of these, the more hours that you book as a package, the more discount that you get. We have our homeschooling pods package, which we offer as half days for either weekly or monthly at a time. And then the other option too is if parents are doing the homeschooling on their own and they don't want, or maybe it's unaffordable to have a teacher in every single day for 3 hours a day. Completely understandable. It's expensive. I'm not going to lie. But maybe they want a tutor or a teacher to come in and assist with learning maybe just 1 or 2 hours a week. And that's where we can step in and kind of fill that gap. You can do it after school. If you're at home, you can do it during home hours. We have tutors who are available at that time too. Yeah, so we have all of those. The other thing that we're going forward with our transparency is we are looking at putting out like a monthly breakdown of costs so that parents can see where the money is going to. We're not keeping all the money. We're, like I said at the beginning, we're trying to reinvest that into professional development opportunities. We're trying to pay our tutors the top dollar possible. We're not great business people, so we don't understand the huge profit margins. We're just trying to make affordable education for students and parents and be open and honest about it.
Oh, I love that. That is changing the world in so many ways. And I love that you're listing your prices because, as we mentioned before, that financial literacy part is so important.
Yeah.
And now you can start talking to parents as it's not an expense, it's an investment. Just as you would, like lots of parents are saving up for years and years and years to help finance the post-secondary education of their students. Well, if you want them to make the most of that time, you gotta step up now. And it's not like it's not normal times, right? But let's reinvent the wheel here. Let's do things completely differently. So tell me a bit more about the awesome tutors that you have available.
So we have amazing Ontario certified tutors all over kind of the GTA area. So we've got some in Toronto, Mississauga, over in Oakville and Burlington. And so we're hiring certified teachers and students who are training to be certified as well. So we have just amazing tutors with so many specialties. So like Dustin's specialty is math and drama, and I'm outdoor. We have another tutor who is a music teacher who is excited to bring those aspects into her tutoring as well. So just awesome, amazing, certified people who are very, very dedicated to improving the education for all of their students. So they're just all so passionate, and we're so excited to be working with each and every one of them.
Oh, that's so exciting. And it's also a fantastic way to add to the richness of what your students are already learning. There's so many schools that are seeing such like even pre-COVID, horrible budget cuts where we're losing music class and we're losing phys ed and we're losing our second languages. We're not even looking at offering more languages or more variety of courses. So this tutoring option is also fantastic for those, for those parents who are looking to add more to what their students are doing. Because as we know, those of us who have studied the brain and how it works, the more ways that you play with that piece of knowledge, you pass it back and forth between the hemispheres of your brain, you pass it forward and backward, all around, you play with some language, you play with some math, you move your body around, you turn it into music. All of that is going to rewire the way that we think. And as children, you are building super highways of information in their brain. And that, my friends, is how you set your students up for success. Oh, I love it. I love it. So tell me, how has it been over the summer? What was the experience like getting this all started, getting it all going? And where do you see you guys ending up in the next, let's say, 6 months?
Question. I don't think that anyone can plan for the next 6 months, but I'll tell you where we want to be. So over the summer, we developed this idea that we wanted to offer this as a company. We were both laid off, Laura was laid off because of the pandemic. She was an outdoor educator. I was a supply teacher, and so of course there was no opportunity for me to continue supplying. Going back into the school system right now, I personally am not feeling super confident with the safety, especially around supply teachers. So I have opted to not re-enter the schools at this moment. So that's why we decided to come up with this. We found that we were each tutoring people anyways, so this would just be a really good way for us to expand on that and to change the tutoring game a little bit. Like we said, like take that the way that it's been and kind of not maybe flip it on its head, but readjust it, reframe it, look at it in a different way that was more beneficial to students, teachers, and parents, and kind of make that gain for everybody. In the next 6 months, where do we want to be, or where could we be? We would love it if the pandemic was over in 6 months and students could be back in school full time.
Yeah.
And we could be offering the tutoring at a distance, or sorry, not tutoring at a distance, tutoring after school and learning in different opportunities and going out into the community. That would be ideal situation. Secondary situation, we're back online. That's my estimate as to what will happen. Science points towards a second wave. Unfortunately, as much as we can do, we're kind of re-entering that, we're finding. Cases are growing. If the schools are to shut down again and everything goes online again, we're anticipating that parents are going to need assistance with helping their kids at home with the online learning. And we're hoping to step in and really build on the skills that the students are getting from online, helping them navigate that system and really build on those skills. One of my students, I've been working with him for about, I'd say about 7 weeks now. And I go in twice a week for an hour. He's moved up 2 reading levels since we've started. He's learned addition and subtraction with regrouping, so that's the carrying over or borrowing. We've talked a lot about mental health. We've talked a lot about social justice issues. This child is going into grade 3, and yet we've been able to have those discussions because of the reading materials that we've been working with, and because he's been able to engage in the reading. It's not just simply memorization of reading. He's he's learned to love reading, whereas before it was something that he couldn't attain, and now it is something that he is thriving with. He's enjoying it. This is a little boy who, I walk in the house and he's on his Xbox, and he actively turns off the Xbox because I'm there. He doesn't need to be told it. That, as an educator, is like, oh my gosh, I'm competing with Xbox and I'm winning. Whew, it's a good feeling.
Oh, yeah. That is so incredible. And I love that you're able to have those difficult conversations with kids and give them the skills that they need to learn and make decisions for themselves. So it's really difficult for a lot of parents to talk about social justice or to talk about what's going on in the world, because maybe we as parents don't necessarily have that vocabulary. And that's where we love our teachers for that kind of thing, because you guys can build a structure that isn't biased on one side or the other. That's not your job. But what you guys are doing is giving students the tools they need to think critically and to make those decisions and to engage in those conversations. And I absolutely love that so much. So much. So before we wrap up, I want to throw it back to you guys. Any last things you want to tell parents or prospective teachers who might be looking for jobs?
Definitely check us out. We have our website up. It's Landdtutoring.ca. We've got our Facebook page. It's L D Tutoring Co. Our Instagram is the same handle, I believe. Laura's our social media guru.
It's L D Tutoring Co. But I will send Molly those links, and hopefully maybe you could put it in.
They'll be linked below or in the show notes if you're listening on the podcast. That's absolutely fantastic. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this episode. You guys at home, I know, I feel you, I hear you, I see you, I appreciate you. I recognize that as parents, things are changing, things are difficult, but the way that we set our children up for success is we recognize that we are lifelong learners. And if you as parents admit to your children and show that vulnerability and say, you know what? I don't have all the answers, but together, let's go find them. Let's look for resources around us. Let's look for solutions to our problems rather than sitting there and whining about it. That, my friends, is how you lead by example. That is how you change the world one person at a time. So my friends, if you are looking for tutoring online, in person, people that are going to change your life and your kids' life, I cannot speak highly enough about these guys. Check them out. All the links are in the description. We're all over the place. If you're on the Three Pines mailing list on the Forest, you're also going to get an email about this, because this, you guys, this is how we're going to change education. I love you guys so, so much. I'm Coach Molly from Three Pines Leadership. Thank you again for spending this part of your day with us here at the podcast. And until next time, remember, I love you. Be excellent to each other.